On this episode of DC On Screen, Matt Reeves discusses the backlash over the Robert Pattinson casting. We tell you when tickets for the Batman go on sale and why Reeves turned down the Batfleck film, plus the Batman insult in Peacemaker that DC complained about, the super secret DC Squad spinoff James Gunn is creating, and fans of The Flash might be getting a season 9. All of this and so much more after these words from our mystery sponsors.
Salutations, my fellow food lovers. This is Chef Mark here from Johnny's Italian Steakhouse, and I want to tell you about our filet Oscar. This premium filet is topped with Johnny's lump crab cake, grilled asparagus, and our signature béarnaise sauce. But the start to any great night always begins with a killer appetizer, and I recommend trying out our jumbo pan-seared sea scallops with Brussels sprout slaw tossed in Johnny's hot bacon dressing. It is so good. I know that you will love my filet Oscar as much as I love preparing it, so come to Johnny's tonight. Johnny's Italian Steakhouse, Village Point Shopping Center, Omaha.
Welcome into DC On Screen, the podcast that discusses the DC Comics multiverse on film and television. I'm David C. Robertson, and this, the man whose father once caught him on all fours lapping Buffalo Rock out of a gravy bowl, Jason Gost. Why Jason Goat? What did I do? I was thinking I meant like a gravy boat, and then I said Jason Goat. That's what happened.
I appreciate you trying to cover it for the early days when I was actually a goat.
Yeah. I mean,
that was the mental image you were thinking about, was when I, a kid, goat,
right,
had to be slapped out of the way because I kept lapping up the Buffalo Rock ginger ale.
I was actually thinking of that time that I saved you from all of those farmers who were screwing you in the ass.
Oh, there was that. Yeah. Normally I just kept going, get away by just climbing an impressively steep rock.
Yeah, but they had you cornered, and you were going, no.
Yeah.
and I wouldn't have even noticed if I didn't go, is that Stevie Nicks? And then, before we start the show, I do want to thank all the patrons out there. In case you were wondering, Patreon is the very best way for you to support this show, and I am actually cooking up a couple of exciting things for our Patreon. Currently, though, you can pledge $1 a month and get every episode ad-free, and $5 a month gets you that, plus whatever bonus content we put out, which we honestly don't do often enough. So, and that's mostly because our lives are very busy, and we don't get consistent audio content out there for the Patreon. But I think I'm coming up with some good ways to balance that out, and I should be talking to you all about that very soon. And by the way, if Patreon is not your jam and you still want to support the show, we have links to support through one-time donation and a merch store at dconScreen.com. Well,
shall we?
I think we shall. All right. So first up, Matt Reeves explains why Robert Pattinson wears eyeliner. And a lot of people kind of started joking about this when the first trailer dropped way back, a couple years ago. So Reeves told Esquire, "You cannot wear a cowl and not wear that. All of the Batmen wear that. I just love the idea of taking off the mask, and under there's the sweating and the dripping and the whole theatricality of becoming this character." And I kind of agree. I think it's, I would prefer that over the Batman Returns thing where like Keaton rips off the mask, and he's like, he doesn't have any eyeliner now. He doesn't have any eyeshadow or whatever you call it,
Right.
Grease paint. And I was like, what happened to the grease paint? I saw the grease paint a second ago. So I'm down with that. Did you see this official poster? It looks very Batman Begins poster. Like it looks a lot like the Batman Begins poster color wise.
Yeah, no, I did.
It's actually I feel like it was a really well composed trailer. Not trailer. God,
One
poster.
Shot?
Yes. Sorry, I've had several strokes this evening.
Oh, those poor strokes.
I know. Whatever happened to that band?
Oh, they're still going.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. And so teased up front, again, talking to Esquire, Matt Reeves addressed the Pattinson backlash. He says, "There has been no actor when his announcement came that he was going to be playing Batman in one of the feature films was announced that has not received a backlash. The people who were excited, I knew it was because they knew Rob's work post Twilight. The people who were not excited, I knew it was because they did not know Rob's work post Twilight.
I love the accuracy of this flowchart he's making right now. He is not wrong.
It feels like a simple chart, but
it's one of the things that we did is look up specifically, like, all right, what's this dude done since last time I've heard of him? And surprise, surprise, it was, he's taken on a bunch of weird, eccentric roles and done great. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what he's got for Bruce then.
Yeah, no, I don't know. He's a good enough actor.
Yeah, it's not a lack of skill or anything. That's the worry. It is the preconceptions, as he's pointing out.
And Reeves did go on Twitter and said he finally he did a quality control check for the movie, and he says his like the Dolby is blowing his mind, the Dolby Atmos, and he can't wait for us to see it. So it's getting close. I mean, we're less than what is it, like a month and a half, something like that.
Oh, it's weeks.
Yeah. Have you been seeing all these clips they've been putting out? I don't want to get like deep into them or anything. They've revealed some Batmobile chase scene footage. They've shown the little funeral scene, and there have been a few clips. It looks really good though. Like at this point, like I feel like yes, it was officially released. Yes, it kind of feels spoilery to me. So I watch them.
What would you think if they did like a release that was similar to this, but a chase scene kind of with little music, like little scoring behind it, in like a nod to that Entertainment Tonight '89 teaser that came out? I could get behind that.
I mean, I kind of feel like they've already done that for all intents and purposes, really. Not through Entertainment Tonight, but...
Well, I mean, that wouldn't be the venue anymore.
Right. I mean, I guess that's still around.
It's been a minute. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure they're still around. Yeah, but...
Like, Entertainment Tonight's like, I knew we were in trouble when Mario Lopez left.
Oh, God. Is that a thing? Jesus. We lost Slater.
It was.
Go ahead and shut it up. Shut it down. Recycle the sets.
He started that Saved by the Bell revival, and it just all went to hell.
He got Gosselier. We're fucked.
So anyway, looks like Batman tickets do go on sale February 10th, Thursday, February 10th. So
I mean,
buckle up, saddle up.
The hilarious part about that is like, yeah, I don't think you're going to have to like pre-buy the tickets in our part of town, at least, in order to get in the theater. But
no.
Oh, I still might do it for old time's sake.
Look, we live in Trustful, Alabama. Okay. You know this. The audience does not, most of them.
Suburb of Birmingham, if anyone gives a fuck.
This is exactly the place. And I've heard this more often than I care to acknowledge. I ain't gonna watch no Batman with that Twilight boy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
I've walked a few people through that one here in the last couple of years.
Now, I don't think
honestly
that this is
the main argument I get, or the go-to for me has become, and I've said it on here before many times. Hey, listen, if you were 14 and someone backed up a Brinks truck, what would you do? Okay, shut the fuck up. That like the amount of selling out I would do. I would be playing contemporary Christian music if you paid me enough money. Country was what I was going for, but I misspoke, and I'm going to stick with it. Either if you paid me enough money, I would do it. I will absolutely sell out. That is the fact of the matter. For a few $1 million, I will make some shitty songs.
Sure.
For the amount of money he got paid in his teens, do you think you wouldn't have made that movie? Because you are lying to yourself.
You are. You're a dirty liar.
And I always point out that he hates those movies too. So.
Anyway, Robert Pattinson talked with Premiere Magazine about Batman's no-kill code. So it looks like this is the first movie ever to actually have a no-kill code for Batman.
Hospitalization, apparently,
he didn't kill in Batman and Robin, but we never got an explicit "do not kill" conversation.
Just saying, that guy he beats. He's not going to be the same again. Like he has changed this man's life, even if he left him alive.
If someone just a bystander or even one of the gang members tells him, "You just crippled him," and he goes, "He's young. He'll walk again." Like, I am gonna jizz in my pants.
If this is one of those where we actually get to see it together, I'm going to see you like look at me and go, "I have to go to the bathroom. I know what you got to do."
Oh no, that shit's drying. There's going to be a painful extraction process later.
I'm going to bring one of my daughter's Mickey Mouse diapers, just in case you need it.
I'm going to need a pair of scissors.
Right.
I won't wear my MeUndies. All right, so Pattinson says, there is this rule with Batman. He must not kill. It can be interpreted in two ways. Either he only wants to inflict the appropriate punishment, or he wants to kill and his self-control prevents him from doing so. I imagined it that way from the rehearsal of the first fight. I thought it was funnier. Something in him just wanted to slit the guy's throat. I told myself that if he spends his nights chasing criminals, it is impossible that he does not take pleasure in it. He suffers, and it is a desire that overwhelms him. And by dint of knocking, his mind clears. He calms down. He reaches a state close to plenitude. I'm sure in this first fight, he manages to convince himself that every guy in front of him is the one who killed his mother. And so that allows him to vent all of his rage. He says this Batman practically lives in the gutter. He's nowhere at home except on the street when he's wearing the suit. He lives a criminal life, but without committing crimes. I felt like I could get something out of that.
Beautiful.
All of that sounds really fun to me. By the way, the IFCO, the international rating that has branded the Batman with a 15A rating and says it contains strong violence and language, moderate drugs, and mild sex / nudity. I ain't know it was like that. This article said that's pretty much equivalent to the MPAA giving this a low R. Though they gave it a PG-13, so yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Who we see nude? I hope it's not Penguin. If it's anything like Batman Returns, it's probably going to be Penguin. And we've got a snippet from Esquire Middle East. Matt Reeves said, well, he talked about turning down the Ben Affleck Batman movie. He says, I read a script that they had that was a totally valid take on the movie. It was very action driven. It was very deeply connected to the DCEU with other major characters from other movies and other comics popping up. I just knew that when I read it, this particular script was not the way I would want to do it. He says, I said, look, I think maybe I'm not the person for this. And I explained to them why I love this character. I told them that there have been so many great movies, but if I were to do this, I'd have to make it personal so that I understood what I was going to do with it, so that I would know where to put the camera, so that I would know what to tell the actors, so that I know what the story should be. This take, I told them, pointing at the script, is a totally valid and exciting take. It is almost James Bondian, but it was not something that I quite related to. And I will say that I've seen a lot of backlash. It seems like every week the usual suspects are complaining, that's the person to blame that we didn't get the Batman movie. No, the person you blame or the people you blame are Warner Brothers. They wanted Matt Reeves so badly. He walked away for 2 weeks and now he's coming back. He came back because they said, we're going to let you do what the hell you want to do. I've seen everything from, he's the one that stopped it. He's the one that canceled Ben to, oh no, I can't believe Matt Reeves stole Ben's idea of having a mentally ill Batman. First of all, this script that he's talking about was by Ben Affleck and Jeff Johns. Remember, we don't like Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns is the bad one. And we've had several reports that said that, Ben was going back and forth with Jeff Johns, that Jeff was changing the script that Ben and Chris Terrio had written for the Batman. And so this is not, Ben was already fed up, basically. Ben had already gone back and forth on this movie and was pretty sick of it. And the reason Ben didn't want to come back in the first place, as he said ad nauseum at this point, is because Justice League was such a shitty experience for him. So, I don't think we have Matt Reeves to blame. Like, I think if anything, Matt Reeves said, no, I want to do this my way, and Warner Brothers let Ben out of his commitment.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. And anyway, it wasn't going to be Ben's script. It was going to be Ben and Jeff's script, which if you've seen Wonder Woman 1984, that's what it looks like when Jeff Johns and the creatives who are trying to do the movie in the first place get into a creative tug of war. So I doubt you guys would have wanted that. And also, can we just go ahead and admit that there's nothing new about the idea that Batman is mentally ill? I mean, from the get-go, Detective 27, he's running around dressed like a bat. From the first issue of Batman, we see the bat fly through the window and he goes, "Oh, a bat. I'll take on the form of a bat. That'll do it." No sane person would do that. And no, they didn't have the words to say, "Oh, he's mentally ill," but he was mentally ill, y'all. And have you read Darwin Cook's Ego? Have you read anything by Frank Miller? This is not a new concept.
Early issues, he was dressed not even really like a bat, just roughly enough like a bat.
Mm-hmm.
And strapped. So, like, this version of Batman would have stopped him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it that. I mean, there was a dude kind of roughly dressed like anything running around with guns and shooting people. 2022 Batman would probably, open up some Arkham doors for him.
Well, sure. But yeah, man, there's absolutely nothing new about the concept of Bruce, being having a few loose bats in his belfry, as it were.
Right.
I mean, remember the whole Bruce Wayne fugitive storyline by Brubaker, like when he's like, Batman is like, yes, finally I can shed the skin of Bruce Wayne and be who I truly am. Like, that ain't right, y'all. He ain't right.
Yeah.
The man has an army of clones.
Yeah.
In case he needs someone to take over. He ain't right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or in the Miller version, like you mentioned, he goes into like some amnesiatic or kind of dissociative moment and
I was going to say a dissociative fugue. Yeah. While Batman is talking to him, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, you think you can get away from me?
That's a good point. It's because of tipple tendencies on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay, on to some Black Adam here.
This is going to be a fun few months. I just realized we're going to get to talk about this a lot. I'm excited.
Yes. Look, I'm very excited about Black Adam. I am looking forward to seeing what Dwayne has up his sleeve. I will say this. I believe that he is correct, or he was correct when he started working on this movie. Way back in 2015 or whatever it was when he was talking about wanting to do this. I think he's a little behind the times now. He's saying superheroes live by a code of ethics and a line of integrity. But with Black Adam, depending on how you look at him, he has the ability to be a hero, an anti-hero, and a villain. One of the things that drew me to Black Adam is his origin. He started out enslaved. Anytime you have a character or any human being who has wrongfully been held down by others, it means so much more when they begin to rise up. Black Adam rises with a big chip on his shoulder and an edge. In the traditional DC universe, as we all know, if you do something wrong, Superman and Batman are going to try and bring you to justice. If you do something wrong to Black Adam, you're going to die. It's that simple. I believe this character, this is the part that he's a little out of touch. I believe this character is going to bring a unique edge to the superhero genre. We're going to be turning preconceived notions on their ear. I mean,
no, I don't know if he is
Punisher,
behind.
Peacemaker.
No, I mean, yes, in the sense that people have been, in the sense that we've seen all of these things before. Yeah, of course. In the sense that
Blade,
the GA isn't necessarily prepared for that, and he's kind of like trying to guide them in a way. Yeah, no, he's right there.
Yeah. I don't think
Not in a good way, but yeah.
I don't think there are any notions on their ear here. It looks like a really cool movie, man.
Oh no,
You ain't making the wheel here. You ain't inventing the wheel.
no, it's very much a sentence that's not meant for like you and me.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant for our aunts and uncles, you know.
Mm-hmm. Why is Batman fighting Superman? I thought they were friends.
Right. Is Iron Man in Justice League?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, yes.
Batman's an Avenger, right?
Mm-hmm. A Dark Avenger, yes.
Right.
Over to Batgirl. Ivory Aquino, I don't know how to say that name, I apologize, is going to be playing Alysia Yeoh in the Batgirl movie. She is from Tales of the City and When They See Us, and or they, I'm not really sure. I should have looked that up. Mm-hmm. My bad. And the character was created by Gail Simone and Ardian Syaf and made, it says her debut in 2011's Batgirl #1. And she and Barbara became roommates. And I think she is the first canon transgender character in DC Comics.
Nice.
And so very popular character in the Batgirl run, and she's been around for about a decade now, and so that is confirmed. Everybody thought that's who she was playing, but that's been confirmed. And speaking of set photos, they're still putting out tons of set photos of Batgirl, and I absolutely don't believe that these are set leaks. I think this is, they're doing open sets. They've got people coming in. I mean, they know what's happening.
Yeah.
But for everyone who was like, look at her costume, it's going to be a kid's show. Dude, they put out some set photos. She is bloodied. Like she's been through the ringer, dude.
She done killed.
And that's all I'll say about that. Because I don't like getting too deep into set pictures because I don't want to watch. I don't know. I glance at them. I don't try to dissect them or anything. I want to enjoy the movie more.
Yeah, I just want to actually watch it.
That might make me a worse podcaster. I'm not sure, but I'd rather be a happy fan.
I mean, entirely fair to me, but
yeah.
God, I just don't think the set photos actually add that much to the conversation other than just shit to talk about and chase your tail.
Yeah. And then you're going to watch the movie and you're going to be like, wait a minute, that scene wasn't in there. Welcome to editing. I mean, sometimes scenes don't work.
2 examples. I loved Ring Up. Like, set photo of Ultron in the middle of the street. Mm-hmm. Actual scene looked pretty badass. Mocap dude standing in the middle of the street, not so much.
Yeah.
Useless as a set photo.
Sure.
And then on the other hand, you have like set photos of Bane in Dark Knight Rises, and
he never looked good.
And it did look that bad, actually, when it actually came out, we're like, no, this does not work for me. Yeah, no, I was hoping that would improve, but
remember we all saw that footage of Batman and Bane from The Dark Knight Rises fighting on the steps in the daylight, and we're like, oh man, it looks awful. It's probably got to be like day for night. They're shooting day for night, sure. That's what they're doing, and when it's all edited together, it's going to look dope. And then we watched it, and no,
shot for shot, that was actually what was happening.
And yeah, it looks like a
terrible. Different angle. That's it.
Like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, God, Chris.
Yeah.
This should be noted, according to an insider speaking with Heroic Hollywood. So this has been reported by Heroic Hollywood, a semi-legitimate news source. That's why I've left it for last.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
on the movies. So according to this insider, quote unquote, the Joker sequel has officially received the first draft of its script, and the film is going to begin shooting sometime in 2023 with Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips returning. So,
but switching roles.
I wish that would be cool.
That would actually be fun.
And which it was funny that this news came out because Willem Dafoe, who was just on Saturday Night Live making jokes in the monologue about how everyone always tells him he should play the Joker, had just done an interview where he was saying he fantasized about playing an imposter Joker against Joaquin's Joker in a sequel.
Oh God,
And
yes, please.
he said he hasn't had any kind of official talks or anything, but he's fantasized about that. And I'm like, okay, so in the past week, you've brought up playing the Joker twice, and now this news drops. Is this testing the water? Because I'll dive into that pool.
I mean, people do that. You know, you put things out there and see how they go. It's a fine way to do something for free. If there's a vote, I would like to be included among those members.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's there for 4 seconds. I would love to see him actually get to do the Joker for a second. Oh God.
Yeah. I'd check that out.
And I want the live version, not just the voice. I want the live version.
Oh yeah, no, you gotta have the live
Look
version.
at that face.
He's made for it.
Yeah, engineered for this.
All right, that's gonna do it for our movie section. We're gonna be right back with TV after these words from someone. All right, we are back, and first up, we're going to be talking about some Peacemaker. By the way, like this, like the #1 show in the world right now. Which I am loving every episode of Peacemaker. It is fantastic. It is not just dumb dick jokes. If you haven't seen it, because you're like, James Gunn isn't my style. James Gunn does a lot of different shit, and yeah, if you don't like Gunn, you're probably not going to like the show, but it is very dark and very sad.
Accurate.
And
well, also, if you were thinking like, well, I didn't like Peacemaker and Suicide Squad, even then, especially watch the show.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what song's in my head right now? Because
that the opening.
It's definitely the opening. Definitely the opening.
Opening thing. Yeah. So first up on the Peacemaker news, he was talking to the Hollywood Reporter, and the Hollywood Reporter TV's top 5 podcast. He says, I was very surprised because they were not too fond of Peacemaker calling Batman a pussy. I'm like, but he talks about all these other terrible things about all these other superheroes that are much worse than calling Batman a pussy. Not only that, Batman is the only one he makes a fair point about. Everybody else, he's really just believing stuff that he read on the internet. He says, ultimately, the DC executives were great. They let me get away with what I got away with at the end of the day. And he was asked why DC took issue with Batman being called a pussy, but not, jokes about Aquaman screwing fish and Superman having a poop fetish. And Gunn laughed and said, I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I don't know why him calling Batman a pussy is potentially more offensive than him saying Superman has a poop fetish. I don't understand why one was brought up and one wasn't.
I did see him say on Twitter very recently, like, for the record, he does not have a poop fetish, canonically. That is not a thing he was trying to introduce officially.
Yeah. And he was doing this podcast interview where he said that we're working on something else now. And he has since confirmed that it is a spinoff of the Suicide Squad movie. He says another TV show that's connected to that universe. I can't say what. And he says with Peacemaker season 2, he is confident about season 2. He says there's a really good chance of that. We're the biggest show in the world right now. And God,
I love that.
Yeah, I know. But on these other spinoff, he says it's in the embryonic stages with nothing having been written or greenlit. He says HBO Max is high on the idea based on his enthusiasm for it. He says, I can't say anything. It is connected to this universe, and I don't think it will be the same genre as Peacemaker. It will not be as much of a comedy as Peacemaker, but it will be the same universe. And by the way, the Wigwam, that's the name of the band who does the opening song. Do you want to taste it? This is just fantastic. Like 3 days. The lead singer, Nilsson, aka Glam, said 3 days before the Peacemaker premiere, our booking agency, United Stage, dropped us from their roster because there was too little interest in the band. I told them maybe you should wait a couple of days, but they didn't. And that song has blown the hell up. It is everywhere right now. And so then in another interview that Billboard did with Gunn, James Gunn, they told him about Wigwam's agency letting them go right before Peacemaker, and Gunn said, "Oh my God, that's amazing." Yeah. He says, "I knew about them for a while. I read a bunch of books on hair metal, and I started searching sites where you go to find different types of music. I get really heavily into different types of music at different times. I was really into power pop for a while, and I have hundreds and hundreds of obscure power pop albums on disc. I got really into Swedish rock for a while, and I would write on the Swedish music blogs and talk to the guys putting them together. And then I got into this. I got into hair metal and wigwam. For that type of modern European sleaze rock, they are not that unknown. There are other bands like Crazy Licks out there that are super fun. We have another one of Wigwam's songs in episode 7. That's pretty cool."
Nice.
And so coming up for March, The Flash has released a teaser for the rest of season 8. Mm-hmm. I won't get into specifics here because you are not caught up. I will say I didn't feel impressed watching it, and listeners of the show know that The Flash used to be my favorite DC TV show. In the last 2 years, it has really fallen flat for me. So I will watch it.
I'm still not sure. I will at this point
try to find a silver lining.
So I really want to watch it just to see if I can like talk you out of that, or if I'm going to be like, man, fuck, you were right.
Yeah,
this ain't hidden.
Well, the thing about it though is like, I will see things pop up on Twitter and be like, oh shit, this is what they're doing on The Flash, and it's like, Flash and I don't know, Reverse Flash or somebody like fighting with lightning swords, and they're like, this is bullshit, and I'm like, no, that was badass. Like there's nothing more ridiculous about that than any of the other things The Flash does. That's badass. Like they move faster than light. Why can't they actually utilize freaking lightning as a sword? Mm-hmm. That's stupid. They're basically control lightning. That's fine. Yeah. The bad thing is all the exposition and like just bad dialogue and bad writing. Like the lack of stakes, they've really fallen on that. But everyone's like, oh, the special effects suck. Well, the special effects always sucked. It's TV. They have like no budget. Shut up. I'll watch 1963 Doctor Who complete with tinfoil aliens. I don't give a shit. I just don't want tireless exposition.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah, but and TV Line is reporting that Grant Gustin is nearing a new 1-year contract to continue working on the show. That would be for season 9. And Deadline is also reporting that Gustin was given the option to return for multiple seasons, and that his new contract will bring a sizable raise. We're talking about more than $200,000 an episode. However, the contract would be for a maximum of 15 episodes in season 9. So I don't know if that would mean like they would focus on other characters and take Barry out of it. Like he and Iris like pop off to some island or something for a minute, to get away from it all. I hope it means shorter seasons. That. Well,
shorter
15,
would be good.
Look, 13 to 15 episodes. To me, that's a good sweet spot for these shows. Like, I don't want to see 23 episodes. I don't want to see 22. I want as little filler as possible.
Yeah.
And that's on anything, not just these shows. Like, no, I don't need to see Geomancer again. Give me a solid story, an arc. Introduce stakes, get rid of the exposition, because we know that most of the people who watch these shows are watching them streaming anyway, so they already know what just happened. They just saw it. Yeah. Like, get rid of all the dialogue where, one of Iris's staff members is explaining to her the clients or what the article that Iris just wrote, or Barry explaining to Iris who their kids are and what year they're from, and I'm like, she knows, Barry. Just that kind of shit drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But I am rooting for the show to get really good again. Like, I loved The Flash early on. It was heavy on the exposition, but not nearly as much as it is now. Or maybe Superman and Lois is just so good that it's just showing me the error of my ways. And it's just like, because it's so good.
I don't know,
Superman
they're
and
both
Lois
good
is so
theories,
good.
and I'm kind of. I don't know. I've been trying to carve out like a place and time where I could really make time to get through the CW that I'm, backlogged on, and I'm getting close. But I'm kind of curious too. When I can get that in place and it can actually like catch back up, I feel like I'm either gonna text you and be like, "Man, woo, yeah, that's bad," or alternative.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Version. What the fuck are you talking about? This is just the same shit we've been watching for years.
Yeah, I mean, I have no doubt that it's bad, but, it might just be that certain elements, certain pockets of DC TV have gotten so good that now I'm just like, I can't handle this anymore. Like, what are we doing, y'all? Like, remember when Todd ran it and it was better? Maybe he didn't. Like, maybe the real test would be for me to go back and watch like old seasons of The Flash and be like, how am I feeling now? But I think I have a pretty good memory, and I think it's both, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I do believe The Flash actually had really cool stakes and had mystery, and we didn't know where the show was going around season 2 and 3. And then that started, I think the last season I really enjoyed was Thinker.
Well, maybe, but they were the best show in television almost. It felt like at that time, for just leaving an actual real mystery on the table. Like the Man in the Mask thing was extraordinary.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
But they're also it's been crazy. Like the CW King Shark and even Gorilla Grodd, fucking look fantastic. Like punching out of their league for sure. And then there's the other scenes where like. Yeah, I don't know. I still remember that scene where Flash is running up the wall. Mm-hmm. It's still like outstandingly a bad CGI scene.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they have hits and misses on the CGI.
It seems episode based though somehow.
Yeah. Well, I think it's it's all budgets. They're saving money for big thing at the end. We got a lot of special effects in one episode at the end, so we're gonna have to cut back on these 7 episodes here, and
yeah,
we got to make sure the premiere looks great. We got to make sure the finale looks great. We got to make sure the mid-season finale looks great and the mid-season premiere looks great. All the others get the scraps.
Of course.
I mean, that's the way it works, I think. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know some people out there love The Flash, and if you love The Flash and Batwoman and all these other shows that aren't nearly as good as Superman and Lois to me, if you think they're all equal, I'm glad for you. And I wish I could enjoy it as much as you do. And I'm always rooting for these shows to like just become phenomenal, stellar pieces of, superhero history. I don't think that's in their future though.
Not this time.
I'm sorry. But yeah, we're gonna take off because that's all the news. And shit, man, we've managed to get it under 2 hours. So I don't know. You want to do a Patreon talk about Spider-Man?
Yeah, that's where the rest of the 2 hours are gonna go.
Because you saw Spider-Man finally. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, everyone. Come back hopefully next week when we'll have more DC news to talk about. Until then, keep some DC on your screen. Our intro music is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Galactic Engineers of Magnetic Sounds, or GEMS, can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Visit DCOnScreen.com to find our Patreon, merch, contact information, and every episode of the show for free, including crossovers we've done with other podcasts. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. For more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, vlogs, parodies, and our improvised web series Hey Guy, visit maladjusted.tv.